You know, as I was doing my research, I was surprised to learn about your work with Don Henley. Here was Dirty Laundry. That was sort of the first time you got to work with him. Is that correct?
It was, and I want to make sure right away I make it very clear. It was Danny Korchmar, Cooch. I got to say his name. Make sure. I've done some interviews before, and I think that got lost. That this was all about Cooch and these great ideas he had. I kind of just came in and helped them pull off what it was Cooch wanted. They wanted that real Farfisa, and I just brought in a little piece of gear. Actually, it's this guy right here. It was actually that little piece of modular gear, and I put the audio of the Farfisa through there, and then I had a cowbell on a drum machine, which they had all synced up. They did such an amazing job with the technology, and Greg Ladani, the great engineer Greg Ladani, had recorded the sync tone. So it just was, it was very easy to just gate that part. But
Yeah.
that was all. That was Cooch's idea, and then Don, I had told them I couldn't get one. I had all kinds of connections in the synth world, but there was this brand new thing out called an emulator. And I heard there was just like 7 of them in existence, which was this, one of the first commercially available samplers. And I couldn't get my hands on one, but sure enough, Don Henley could get his hands on one. And so we did all kinds of these sound effects at the end, and we actually even did the background vocals through there, kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down. It was really, they were amazing to work with. Cooch was amazing to work with, really fun, really demanding, and yet it was a favorite session I'd love to talk about because everything just kind of clicked. Everything worked easily. All that time I spent, learning the modular stuff and learning spending all this time in this very non-musical way sometimes that would frustrate my bandmates. It really came to fruition on a session like that.
Yeah, yeah. And I also read that you worked on this record here, the follow-up with Don Henley. What was it like to work on Boys of Summer? Because to me, that is just like one of the quintessential 80s songs, and such a great keyboard song. So yeah, how did you get involved on that one?
It was very much a fluke thing. They had called me. The song was done. The song was done. They just were calling me to find out if I had some magic device that could change the key. Don wanted to sing it up a half step. This is the way I remember it. I'm very careful with some of these stories because I'll see other interviews with some other guys involved, and they'll tell a completely different story. But the way I remembered it was they just wanted to know if I had something that could transpose it, like an auto tune. We do have plugins now that work pretty cool could change the key of a whole thing, but then there really wasn't anything that did that. So just with Mike Campbell in the room with me, just with the drum machine, he had the Lynn drum machine that they had recorded that had done the original track. I just on an Oberheim synthesizer replayed the basic synth part in the new key. Dun, dun, boom, bum, bum, bum. And then they went and finished it brilliantly with Pino Palladino on bass, and really the synth stuff that Cooch did was on all their stuff was amazing. Was incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't do that much on that album. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.